Welcome everybody to teamfortress.tv. It is I, TurboTabs, and I am not alone. I'm here with Eemes and the co-cast Beta on production, and we're here to guide you through more of our ETF2L Season 41. Good God, the season is so old it could have a midlife crisis at this point, and it is. It's going through its week 3, halfway point, and there's been so much drama, Eemes. What the hell's going on in this week?
There's been huge drama. Witness Gaming at one point with a winner, of course, of last season against me. That was, by the way, just have to point that one out in a very brutal final.
You're not bitter though. It's fine.
Not bitter at all. They have dropped from the whole season. So they had a, let's say, unexpected loss against Falls Kings on Tuesday, or was it yesterday? But in any case, they kind of, it was looking very difficult for them to make playoffs at that point. And I think you could kind of tell that their hearts weren't really in it this season. For whatever reason, they just couldn't really get back to the same level that they were at previously. And so they've gone their separate ways and will no longer be competing. So there you go.
Well,
you hate to see it, Turbo.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's what happens when you lose to the walking penis joke. But we have to move on. We have to carry on, and this sends a ripple throughout the rest of the season, and it affects a few of our teams tonight, as we are going to be casting Stevie Wonder's Eemes School versus where das liest ist doof. Thank you. And Stevie Wonder's Eemes School, they actually drew with Witness Gaming, and I guess now that's null and void because of the timing of the season.
Yeah, they're going to be really, really mad about that, actually, because that was a huge win for Yak and his boys. And 3 points against what was supposed to be a top team. That's obviously part of the reason why they dropped. So, maybe if that hadn't happened, they wouldn't have had the points, but they wouldn't have had the points anyway. So yeah, but that's a bit annoying for Yak. But that does, they've got upset potentially against the top teams, and both of these teams at the moment are pretty low down in the tables. And so it's going to be a battle of the mid to maybe low prem teams here. So I think anything can happen, Turbo.
Yeah, I'm going to give a bit of credit to where's das liest doof, because their first couple of weeks they've been rough themes. They've been kind of shafted by the ETF2L system, and they were given like one of the two hard, well, at least now two of the hardest teams kind of offered to them on that ETF2L table. So they lost those two kind of comfortably, but it's fine. Now they get some breathing room. That's the time where they get to develop, look at those sort of source TVs and maybe come back now. And Stevie Wonder's Eemes School, they've got a target on their back. They've got a pedigree of them.
Yeah, definitely. Yak with his huge prem pedigree, a long time player around these levels. But yes, as it's actually in a way good for the German team because they've got their two hardest games, which they were probably never going to get points out of the way, and now they can focus with that experience on the on the games that they can get points on, and maybe start making an epic run to playoffs if they and they could start that off today.
Yeah, and it's also on your favourite kind of week in an ETF2L. It's Viaduct week, it's King of the Hill week, it's Crazy Random week. Oh boy, let's go. So we're going into that first map for the evening with these two teams. We should probably actually round off these two teams and tell who's on them before we get into the maps. So
yes, we should.
All right, let me pull out the old sheet here. There we go. All right, so over on Stevie Wonder's Eemes School, we've got Faust on Medic. Joseph or Yak will be playing Demo Man. Charlie will be playing Soldier, Pocket Soldier. Troy's going to be on that Roaming Soldier. Vanu is, I believe, on Pocket Scout. I might be completely wrong, but we'll see. And Iosti will be on that other Scout opposing him. And quickly, go through the where's das liest.
Then for the Germans, we have Voxy and Shocky on Scout, Amty and Fishcott on Soldier, Philip, Demo, and June on Med. And looking to start off this mid, all players on default classes, and let's see who takes it.
Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. So, starting off on our first ride into our Viaduct mid, and everyone's playing it cool. No quick early jumps coming out of the Soldier. I lied. There's actually Troy going around for the flank, and he's going to play around the health pack instead. It was all just a bit of ruse to send Charlie in, suiciding in, feeding to the worst das liest doof, and with the first domino falling, the rest of the dominoes start to go aggressive and fall. There's some nice little surfing coming out from June. She's going to keep herself alive, and they're going to take away this midpoint quite comfortably, but they still keep their medical alive over on Stevie Wonder's Eemes School.
Yeah, nice. Kind of an unorthodox mid there, so passive from the Germans, just sitting back as if they had a sniper, but they didn't. But that was worked out very much in their favor because they just cleaned out the flank players and sat passive, then went forward once they had the room. So nice mid from them, as we do see Yak's team just coming out of the forward hold and heading over to point now.
Yeah, they're giving a lot of space for this push to actually happen here. They let Stevie Wonder's aim squad actually cap it before even Ubers are exchanged, and they're dropping so many players. I guess they just really want to be the last ones to use the Uber, but they use it anyway, and they're responding kind over on Stevie Wonder's aim squad. The Demoman's trying to lock them out now, avoid all these entrances, and they actually do dodge Yak's sort of peppering quite well. It's now up to the soldiers to see what they can make happen, and they're just trying to get that positional ground, it looks like, and just be a pain and a headache by jumping about all over the place. Absolute chaos between these viaduct maps, and nobody's dying here, it seems.
Yeah, the Germans very content to play extremely passive there. Charlie was behind, they all pretty much went back for him, claimed that frag, and now they can walk forward together. Going to get another pick, and in fact one more. Will Faust be able to get out? He's leaving on Cliff. He's just about going to live with Yak just alone there. He may be going for a sack now, as is his signature style. He's going to get the demo, but not too much. It's kind of a worth pick. He's going to get a slightly faster spawn than Philip, but this is something you can expect Yak to be doing pretty much all game. He loves bombing in on this map.
Yeah, so he hit somebody with that bauble, but they've had a quite easy time here on Stevie Wonder's aim score, getting in free, as they are playing very passive. And look again, it happens again. So much free cap time done by these scouts, and now they actually start to show their face and they pop off Ubers, but this time it's a lot more even Stevens between these two teams, and it's just really the soldiers kind of pre-positions and waiting for each other, seeing if they can kind of be the first one to get the picks to kind of motivate their teams to push across.
Yeah, I like this from Voxy, switching it up. He had been very passive the past two holds, but this time taking it aggressively over point, getting a much better trade, just soloed on that scout. And Yak also dying, I think, to a sticky trap as well. So a really nice aggressive trade this time from the Germans, really taking the momentum of this round so far.
This is a brave push coming out from Stevie Wonder's aim squad, just running into the belly of the beast, taking a lot of firing, but they make it work somehow. I don't know how they managed to pull it off. It just looks really scary with all those scouts and red soldiers just kind of sitting around there.
Yeah, they do have a tiny ad here if they want to make something off it. They could head in pretty quickly and maybe try and pick out fast, but they are just going to be walking up slowly up the point, going to pressure us. Just get some cap time. Voxy aggressing now a little bit, blueprinting up something of a defense, but Yak seem pretty passive still. Voxy's going to get the cap, and they're going to take another trade, aggressive over point, one flash. Voxy's almost going to get behind here. It was a very nice trade for the Germans, in fact, as they're going to get in pretty much over point, get one pick on Faust very early from Empty. Now they can just chill back left, and all they need to do is live, keep June alive, and they'll have this point for free in about 10 or 20 seconds.
Yeah, usually when you see the medic die in your team, that's the green light to go. Just start bombing and going absolutely crazy and see if you can get that equalising med pick. And so the coordination isn't quite there. I think everybody had to take a quick run-up step, and that's allowed some breathing room for word last is doof to kind of calm things down, set back up and capture that midpoint again. And big damage coming out from Phil, and yeah, that's going to be an easy sort of cleanup for the rest of the German squad, and that should solidify that mid capture.
Yeah, Charlie had a chance there to get onto June, almost finishing off the German medic, but no, two nice dodges from the German medic, and as they 40% ad now for the Germans, so they're going to be sitting close on the right side and looking to probably choke this round out if they can just hold these chokes properly.
Yeah, they're not really holding it properly. Everyone's getting a bit like aggressive here at these doors. Some people want to hold a bit an arm's length, like the Demoman Philip, and yeah, Fishkoff just wants to get in there. He wants to get into this tiny little room, and now it's just poor Philip and June here against the world. And I mean, bless him, he's doing a great job actually trying to pipe down and just push off these defenders. Does keep his medic safe, but he will go down for the cause.
Yeah, so the Germans really failing the forward hold there, and that's really going to cost them because they had so little time left. They could have just held on point and just delayed. They would have been absolutely fine, but now decent advantage for CV1's aim school, but Yak is going to go down. A nice sack wave, in fact, going to get a pick, and their bed's completely safe and spawned, so solid play there from where does liest is doof. Going to be able to take probably Cliff here and just wander in slowly with their ad, which is very, very large now.
It is possible, though. They've got 50 seconds left on the clock. They just need to do a good job of just kind of forcing out this Uber and kind of kiting it back, and then they can just block off the Uber by time it gets to the point. But they haven't managed to force it off early. They're going to have to take the brunt of this Uber right here on the point, and let's see how well they can kite it out. All the focus is on this one little scout, and they can't seem to finish him off. He picks up the health kit, and that's the Uber gone for the Germans. They do cap the point, but there's 20 seconds left, and the collapse is there. Everybody else goes down despite the Uber not having too much effect.
Yeah, a huge air shot from Charlie there, but it wasn't a 0% med, so it's not really going to do too much with 3 players up for Stevie Wonder's aim squad. Going to be heading back in, but they don't have it yet. The Germans just need to collapse on them. They don't have it. They can kill Faust right now to get in, and Amji's actually, he's going to get a sword. That's huge from Faust. They could have clutched out the whole round. He was going to die there, but he's going to save his team, walk forward. Fish is going to die, and now there's a decent chance for Stevie Wonder's aim squad to get back into this round.
Oh, it's going to be difficult. Do they actually have a forward hold set up here over? They actually got Amti stuck behind, and they get a nice clean sort of jump onto the medic, but doesn't quite finish off. Oh, actually, he does get a kill. So with the medic going down, they can just play off the heals here, just need to bunch up, blob up, and then see if they can play and win from heals alone. It's getting scrappy here on the mid fight. It's 0 time, overtime for both of these teams. It's really going to come down to the wire. It looks like it's getting a bit more German on the side of this midpoint, and it will be the heals has brought them the win. It will be the first round to the Germans.
Very, very close round there, but the key thing being the meds on both teams. Fausty made a huge play getting that Uber sword, but then dying very early on his own concrete to one soldier in that final push where, you know, they just need to be passive, bait them onto point, let Yak do a lot of damage on the capping players and then refight. But this early pick just meant it was so easy for the Germans to just sit and clean up the damage on those players who are not getting any heals. So, yeah, we'll see if the Germans play their passive mid again this time.
It was nice and close though. They can shrug this off. They can believe. If you brought it this close, you can bring it this close again. As we're entering into our second round of so far, and again we're just seeing some passive play. Nobody really jumping first. Nobody wants to show the first sign of weakness or aggression. And they're getting a bit of a edge out of this from Stevie Wonder's aim score, just cheekily capping the point while this goes off, but it just seems like a cold war between all these soldiers and their waiting periods. Oh, you do see a jump on Bishkov. He does try to attempt the pick onto Yak. He does go down from all the focus fire, and with Yak going down, that's a big name for them. They can just, hopefully the lack of 2 players will equal to their Philip advantage, and the scouts, Shocky and company are doing work of holding the ground that Philip is trying to create here.
Yeah, Fishkoff absolutely spanked Yak on that mid, hitting a crazy air shot and just cratering him into the ground. And with that demo down, there was so much space for Philip. He had full ammo, full HP, and just ran over point. There were 2 down for the Germans, but it didn't really matter because he could just make so much room for them. As Voxy does take in the trade, it's going to be a lot worse for the Germans. They're going to be heading out on their cliff, but they have delayed the point. They could take a refight here. The Shocky going down early, and also Ampty probably on the flank going to die here. Very, very weak. It's going to be difficult for them. Voxy getting back in there. They're making a lot of room, in fact. And the bomb from Charlie is not great, so this could be an opportunity for the Germans, but in fact, Charlie's going to take out Philip, and he's running around, but June will claim the frag, so not as much of a disaster for the Germans as it could have been there.
Oh no, Charles. Well, okay, it's fine. We could recover from this, but I mean, in the grand scheme of things, they have held on to the point. They have got some time kind of burnt away on Stevie Wonder's aim score, but it was very well played from Where's That Steve Stuff to kind of make space with their soldiers, just kind of knowing to tread the line between staying in and staying out.
As we see, Stevie Wonder's aim squad just landing both solis on the med as soon as they can. They are defending, but they recognize that the Germans weren't in a great position below that cliff area, and just this really, really nice aggression. They're going to keep Faust alive, probably
5 HP.
That's actually a huge. Well, I don't think he did milk because he didn't have it, but that's very well done by him to live there. And now, with time about even and Faust with full HP, it's looking pretty good for the Germans. For Stevie Wonder's aim squad to, well, they're nosing ahead in this round.
And with an Uber charge, they have to basically force them to do all these suicide plays. So it's a bit of a duck hunt season. See if they can get on top of all these players and control them nicely. And it looks like, oh, actually, they have forced off the Uber. Embarrassingly, this is where the dog would pop up and laugh at them.
Yes, indeed. It was a solid force play. And they will be looking to set up a strong forward hold here. Yak actually going to be rotating a little bit. He's going to trap main, so if they want
you don't see this every day.
Well,
you get the force on the medic, and now you go straight into the spy. They get the backstab. The scout does the slowest turn of his life, and yep, that's a dead medic.
I totally missed that. I'm not gonna lie. That's just how sneaky Voxy was coming in there. So a huge player from Faust that can really turn the round around here. If they can just keep their med alive, who's gonna head back to spawn. Philip gonna go down. Varney's pretty weak, trying to take a fight with the scouts in spawn here. Two very weak scouts. Varney's gonna be probably going down to Voxy in main. Yes, and now should be a fairly easy take. But Yak is gonna head in as well, as is Want, but no. Oh, he will take out Amty once again, trading for a rather useless player later in the fight, but that's Yak for you, Turbo.
You gotta love a bit of the Pavlonian training that some of these players go through. They saw that their medic went down, and despite where they were on the map, they were like, we must get the medic. So they went to that tiny little enclosed space, tried to get into their spawn area to get on top of June, but they were just kind of lambs to the slaughter as they all got kind of killed and peppered off one by one.
Yeah, so it's actually a very early force here from the Gems. I don't really know what they popped to. I think maybe Yak just spammed June out. So they really would have been looking to get much more of that Uber, but now 50% on Faust, you can be heading in through Cliff. So this could be a decent chance for them to retake the point now.
Well, they haven't quite got the Uber yet, so 60% Uber is still no Uber, as they're going to try and strong on their way in, just playing off the reach. Oh, nice little flanks and sort of just focus fire and playing off the skirmishers from Stevie Wonder's Eemes school. What a turnaround!
Yeah, once again a med going down in a very unexpected both position and sort of timing in terms of the momentum of the game. But I think this really is the difference between this level of Prem, which is sort of slightly lower than a bit higher, where the meds are very vulnerable because they're just catching a little bit more spam. Their scouts aren't paying quite as much attention. The Sollies are just getting in, making a lot happen for both of these teams.
I feel like some of the teams kind of cash in on that as well. You can see that June was building pretty early from the start of that little chaos, so it makes me think that they were more than willing to just throw everybody in there to just get that medic equation out. You know, just keep it simple, TF2, Eemes.
Yeah, definitely. Another very early pop from the German team as Yak will be heading in again. It's a completely chaotic fight, but Varney behind will take out June, and that's really bad for the Germans now, because if they cap, they will deny their med. They have to wait around, and it's only 0 seconds, and Faust has full Uber as well, so it's looking very difficult for them. They need to force Faust, not all die, and somehow win the fight as well, so it's going to be tough for the Germans now.
Is that a Kritzkrieg, am I seeing? Have I got just something on my monitor? Should I try and scratch it off? Nope, that is the glowing gun. Let's see how they do. Yak is quite a glowing gun fanatic. He's popped off now, and the first sticky finds nothing. Second sticky, nothing. Third sticky, nothing. But the laser beams coming out from Varnu, that found something. But this Krix was more deadly for Stevie Wonder's Eemes school than anybody in this server.
Yeah, I mean, Yak needs to be in that Eemes school, I think. The thing, the problem really there was that he was going for some med for absolutely no reason. All they needed to do was win one fight, as I mentioned. So if he gets one pick with that crits, they basically just win the round. But instead, he's trying to shoot over the Germans. He's trying to shoot over the head of the demo onto the med instead of the killing the demo who's just right there. But as I talk about all this stuff, things are happening. June is dead again, and this is going to make it. Well, it's going to be very tight here, Turbo. But
oh no.
I'd say Faust and his 50% Uber are just about favoured.
Yeah, I think they might have one in the tank if they really bring it to overtime, but they have to just make the push right now, and they are going to get a little bit of wiggle room in the sense that there's no sort of heals helping out poor little Liest doof, and it'll come down to this messy skirmishes that we've seen so far. Get in the blender, Eemes. We're all having a good skirmish on this midpoint as we've gone back into an overtime situation in our second round, and oh, Crits has popped out, but I'm not seeing any casualties. I'm not seeing any frags, and just the jumping power, the shocky sort of finesse has worked out for them. And yet again, it's 2 rounds on the board.
Yeah, I mean, Stevie Wonder's Eemes school are kind of throwing, honestly. They all they need to do is win one fight in a minute, and they had crits twice. But what they did just in that final fight, they stacked 4 people on point for no reason. They tried to basically backcap them on product, but all they needed to do is win, and they have better spawns. So if they didn't just all wipe there, it would have been fine. But instead they tried to rush it. They tried to sort of sneak out a win, and because of that they lost.
It's all okay, because this is where the greatest comeback of TF2 is going to happen right now. There's going to be a tame, different beast here at Stevie Wonder's Eemes school, and it starts with Troy getting killed. But he will get some pressure onto that medic, and maybe motivate some of these other players from Stevie Wonder's Eemes school to kind of chip in, pepper some people down. But It's not looking good once the dust settles. They're just going to cap out outright. They're not even going aggressive. They're just kind of keeping them at arm's length. Stay right there while we cap this point, says the Germans.
Yeah, definitely. The Germans just playing very, very solid there, and they seem to be wising up to the fact that Stevie Wonder's aim school really are just tunneling the med all the time. And you saw Yak run over point trying to shoot pipes basically only at the med, which meant that the rest of the Germans had a lot of space to take that defensive fight and win out with a pick.
Yeah, and I think they're getting a little bit wise as well onto Stevie Wonder's aim school. They don't want to show this sort of Bepega jump in right on top of the medic gameplay, but if they don't do anything, it just looks like they sit there and just wait for the time to tick out.
Yeah, they don't seem to have too many ideas. They want to bomb all the time, basically, but they don't realize that you can just take spam fights on this map and often win them. I think that's the problem. And so once again they try and make something very, very aggressive happen with that trade, but Faust is going to go down, and the Germans, they've recognized, I think, they can just play solid. They don't have to commit much. They can just play passive and wait for the solids to bomb in. And once again, we see Yak going deep. He's gonna. Oh dear.
Oh no.
So I did say at the start we would be seeing a lot of that, but this again is a Hail Mary play. Basically, it's like, let me just solo bomb the med. I mean,
yeah.
Why? You don't have to do that on this one. You don't have to take like huge risks all the time.
Yeah, and your demo man in these sort of maps is your most valuable resource. So when you start chipping in that player to start going in, it really makes you wonder what's going on in the break room. So, some nice aggression, sort of coordination play to actually take out Philip there, and Yak is not going quite suicidal, and it's playing off a little bit more. But they will keep June alive. They've got this Uber charge to potentially fight back with, and with no demo man on the side of Stevie Wonder's aim school, they could just potentially span this out.
Yeah, as it is a small advantage. Obviously taking it in on Cliff, you're not going to catch anyone here, but they will take the point again, and so far ahead for the Germans. Well, the Fishcrawl will go down, so this is a decent refight, but regardless, this should be decent looking for them in the round in general, if they can just delay. They need to get the force out here, though, as Voxy will be heading in behind it, causing a lot of distraction, just sitting on concrete now, coming back to his team as Yak dies. So, Stevie Wonder's aim school really getting run rings around there by Voxy, and just looking a little bit lost, if I must say so.
I'll say, were you saying, was he sitting on them or was he shitting on them? Fuck me, that boy he was just making them kind of heads turn constantly, gets out as well. They will cap off this midpoint, but they've got the threat of the Uber charge. Oh my god, is that Yak's twin brother there? Philip just jumps in and actually gets the force over onto Faust and company, and with an Uber charge down and as much time as they have, they are looking pretty for the rest of this round.
Yeah, definitely, but this, though, is the correct time to go for a sack play on the med. When you don't have the points, you have better spawners, and they have ad. Whereas many of the times that we have seen these solo plays, they've just been kind of, because they felt like it, and often it's really not working. As Juno, I don't think has even died this round, as Faust will go down. That's a huge Uber. It's catching out all of Stevie Wonder's aim school, crucial players at least, and it's going to be very easy for them to clean up these remaining players, just leaving on Cliff. Charlie may go down, Yak and Yisti just chilling. But they're going to have to leave, give up the point completely, no stickies or anything, and only 45 seconds, just looking very nice for the German team now.
I don't know why they were so shocked to see an Uber charge there come out from the Germans. They just kind of came out of the door after that forward hold and like, oh yeah, they can just Uber out. Yeah, this is what makes these forward holds a bit poop.
Yeah, and so again a sack on the med, and you've got to be thinking to yourself, well, you've got to be thinking, what will Yak be thinking to himself after this game when they lose? And the answer is, he'll probably be saying, oh, well, we just didn't kill the med when we sacked, so we just need to hit more shots. That's like, we see a double air pipe from Philip. Oh my god, that's crazy. Huge stuff from the German demo there. But, the problem is not that they're not hitting their shots on June in these sack plays. The problem is the sack plays themselves. But I don't think they're going to realise that.
Well, one more Hail Mary jump for the hurrah, and it will be a comfortable third round despite two very close rounds previous, and it will be a clean look on the ETF2L table, but it looked a bit closer there. Could have gone even Stevens there, Eames, if a couple of things, pipe here or there strayed.
Yes, maybe, but I think the crucial point in that was that the Germans worked out what they were doing. There were about 5 sack plays onto June in this last round, and I don't think she died once. So just very smart. They played the Ubers correctly. When they had to, they got their own force play off, but all they did was play the Ubers. They caught out Faust in multiple of them, and they just Stevie Wonder's Aim School didn't really have any plan other than that. They didn't. The most important thing, they didn't ever take spam fights. Often when they could have won them, they just sacked. So I did. The reason I'm ranting about this maybe is that I murked for them earlier this week, and I did say this, but they don't seem to have listened to me, Turbo.
Teacher is upset. Everybody go out and see me after class, and let's go over the homework here, Eames. Let's have a look at these logs, see if these boys deserve a big fat F. Alright, well, I'm going to rank it by damage, because I'm a normie, and I see Voxy topping the charts. You don't see that every day. Scouts topping the charts on a King of the Hill map. Usually Philip is, and the Demo Man and Yak and all that will be kind of rising the case there, but I guess with Yak being so suicidal and I don't know, Philip didn't really feel like he had to do too much work this game. It felt like, because they were so aggressive, the Scouts were just playing a game of duck hunt, so maybe it's appropriate.
Much. I mean, huge stuff from the Scouts there. You saw so many of his trades, Voxy just taking it over point, staying very healthy, making them flash, and just giving all of the other players on this team so much space to do things. But I think, the crucial statistic here is surely June, who Stevie Wonder's Aim School spent basically the whole game trying to kill, had 4 deaths. So, wow, I mean, go figure, Turbo.
Go figure, indeed. Oh, that's my little beta cast of the season just whispering in my ear. The most important stat is how much damage this man put out with a Rap Assassin. 800. That's like 2 heavies and a bit. Eames.
Yeah, that's huge stuff.
That's a lot of red screen.
Absolutely meta changing. As we love to see. And no, but it is probably interesting, because there's 2 changes that have happened in the meta. That's been, Scouts have been doing that, but demos have not been nerfed because of the Iron Bomber. But both of them are still using it, but well, not particularly high Iron Bomber damage in these games, and neither demo very much overperforming at all. So that could partly be. I mean, there's different things happening in the game, and the Pocket Scouts are doing a lot, but that's partly partly a factor that is affecting that, I think.
Scouts overpowered. Name me a more iconic duo. Alright, so we're going straight into Snakewater. It will be our final one as the same map of the same name. So it is a juxtaposition at this point, teams. You've just lost a game of Viaduct, and now you're going into Snakewater. What are you saying to your boys, as teacher, to kind of snap them back out of this?
Well, there's 2 questions there, Turbo. Is that what would I be saying, or what would Yak be saying?
All right, okay, all right. Tell me what you would be saying, and what would Yak be saying?
I think I would be saying we need to focus on the fundamentals, which is keeping our med alive and playing around Ubers properly, and taking points for free without being forced. But I think the thing about this Stevie Wonder's Aim School is they really like to. They like to sort of catch people out. They like to make messy plays. They like to make plays on the med. They like to, do aggressive sacks. And this is particularly against Voxy, who's a very experienced pocket scout, even if not all of the rest of his team is experienced in Prem. This is kind of playing into his hands because he knows how to deny these things. And his Sullies, Amty and Fishkov, they both played pocket before. I don't know actually who is playing pocket, but regardless, they know how to protect their med pretty well. So it's playing into their hands to try and do these these plays on the med, basically.
Do you think the Snakewater map is going to lean to one team or the other? I know I asked this question and everybody tells me no, it doesn't really play a part into it, but surely maybe this is going to lean towards the soldiers a bit more on these mids, facilitate those aggressive bombings a bit more maybe for Stevie Wonder's Aim School?
Well, I think it won't be as easy for Voxy to just sort of carry like he did on the previous map. And so Voxy is probably the German's best player, so that's, that's good for Stevie Wonder's Aim School. I think it will be definitely closer. Probably the biggest thing is going to come down to last pushes, actually, because both are sort of low Prem teams are not likely to have it very, very perfectly down. So you could see a lot of failing to convert those, which could be very, very impactful, I think.
All right, and for a little bit, we did see a bit of sneaky snipe play coming out from Voxy there, but otherwise, it's been quite quiet on the home front. Nobody rocking sniper or anything like that. Do you think these teams aren't really tempted at all? Because usually you find these lower level teams like to lean on those sort of, I wouldn't say gimmick, but just those kind of less fundamental plays. Just rock a sniper and just hope it works, lol.
I suppose, but you got to think for product, it would have to be one of the solis really doing that, and I don't know if Amty and Fishkoff are particularly good at sniper. For the Germans in particular, their two scouts, as you saw, both getting pretty much 400 DPM each. Definitely their best players, the most experienced players, so you really wouldn't want to see either of them off-classing very often on product at least, and not really either on this map. I mean, you'll probably see it a bit more in stalemates, maybe some sniper, but Voxy is, as I said, the key player, so you really want to have your key player on his best class.
Stevie Wonder's ever shown past like play where they can like adapt to situations? Like, okay, they've got teams kind of like changing, adapting towards them. Can they adapt around the adaptation? Are their team capable of that, or are they just very much like they're very good at their one thing they do?
I think, yeah, it's probably more likely going to be as we saw, which is the Germans adapting to them, and the thing they like to do is catch people out. I mean, I guess I've already said it, but that's mostly it. The thing where we may see adaptations is the mids. I'm not really sure what either team is going to be doing, and I expect the bombs, at least if CV1's aim score and the aggression, should be pretty in sync. So that's going to be probably the key thing for Verdasslis is doof to see if they can hold their own on these mids.
All right, well, wait with bated breath no longer as we are entering our Snake Water second map here in our week 3 of ETF2L season 41. It's Stevie Wonder's Aim School versus Worst Das East this doof, and already got our sights onto Philip, seeing what he can cook up on the start of this mid. Gets a nice starting peppering shot onto Yak, saying hello, and now we wait for the rest of the soldiers to begin. And no real kind of committing jumps so far. Everyone's just kind of playing it kind of steady, very similar to Vido. Amty will actually be the first one to jump in and doesn't actually get to the health pack as well, so will go down, and with those first couple of plays going down, and I think the skirmishing just going a bit better for Stevie Wonder's aim score in the sort of midpoint of this mid fight. They just kind of walked away with it.
Yeah, very tentative there from the Germans. The Solis kind of both vaguely went in, but they didn't really go together. Fishkoff just tried to get into the enemy's kitchen, but really he got pretty much stuffed on that, as it looked like Stevie. Oh, and in fact, Charlie does an early sack on the June. I didn't see that. I was totally not looking, but it must have been a skip jump through the left side, as that's a huge play. Just what I meant about, Stevie Wonder's aim score, trying to catch people out, and this time it's working very, very well. So the question now is, will they push immediately?
I'm flabbergasted. I didn't expect the medic to go down there at all. I just see it awkwardly, shunt itself on my kill feed. June has gone down, just like, what? How does that even happen at this stage? Wasn't there a sentry gone up as well? What is this? Charlie been eating breakfast?
I think it was just going up, and it was on the wrong side. June was coming out the right spawn door from her point of view, and Charlie just skipped through the left onto her face. So as the Uber does come in here right side, Yak's going to take the sentry down. We've got a lot of catfight early. Both ways trying to block. Could both go down here. It's a not great position now from Stevie Wonder's aim. So we're going to be sitting very, very passive on the floor, as I don't know how that's really happened. They had such a good start of that push, but they just over-tunneled the point and weren't able to clean up these solis. The biggest problem there, Turbo, was that they all ended up right in the bottom of the map, and they just had no position from which to contest at that point.
Yeah, it seemed like it started off really well for Stevie Wonder's aim score, but they were just lacking a little bit of that oomph. It kind of made me wonder where some of the heads were of that Stevie Wonder's aim score, but they make a successful push out here on where that's the stuff. Charlie goes in for another sort of attempt at June's life, and why not? It worked so well the first time. They throw in Iusti as well. Must have been citing that he did loads of damage, but there wasn't that enough damage, so they're going to keep rising off of this momentum, playing off the things. Yak might have been caught out. Very nice set of rockets coming out from Troy, protecting his boy. And, is he even typing something there? I don't know, but he was away from the keyboard for a hot second there. They're still capping midpoint throughout all this. They've got the Uber charges now on both teams, and they want to re-enter. They pop off the Uber over on June and Company. With just 3 players up, they have to do the most awkward Uber to back out here.
Very strange situation there. Yak looked like he was feeding, but it turns out that he baited both of the scouts from the Germans completely out of position. They both died to a rather random Sully bomb. They were all capping, and they shouldn't have been. No one's really locking out the chokes. The Sullys just kind of rolled them. As we do see Fishkoff going in for a sack now. He's going to get some damage on the Vine, but will not get the frag. But so it's going to be a pretty easy second take for Stevie Wonder's aim score, and they will have it for last. I expect they're going to be heading through under and popping pretty early here, Turbo.
Yep, and like you said, they are here right now. They've got the Uber, they've counted their heads, they're checking the list twice, and they're trying to get on top of the sentry gun. They will actually clean it up. They've got some early damage onto the heavy weapons guy as well. That caused such a huge pain for them into this last push, and they're doing a much better job here of cleaning up all these players and getting on top of them. It feels like the scouts have actually got a foothold in a place to actually do some damage and set some pace here on this last point. And there you go, the mid that they were promised much earlier. I mean, the last.
Made it happen that time, got that early heavy pick and the sentry. They didn't really choose a side this time either, but neither did the Germans, so both teams were pretty split, and it just meant that the pick advantage that Stevie Wonder's aim school had early on made them win out in that fight. So let's see if they can have the Germans maybe will adapt on this mid, because last time it was not looking too hot for them.
Yeah, I can see them just playing them passive again. It's what won them Viaduct, so maybe why, try and force things here on the Snake Water. So I see MT is actually just propositioned in the kitchen, just kind of holding back, and yeah, nobody wants to jump this time. Everyone wants to play it cool, and there we go. Troy will go down to the passive play of Stevie Wonder's aim school, and some nice set of rockets coming out from a Fishkov, I believe, or is it Amty, to kind of protect June there. So it should be kind of messy because everyone's all over the place on the map now, trying to hunt down each other's medics and trying to just see if they can get some awkward little picks, but it will go to the Word Asties Doof team.
Yeah, it was much worse positioning there from Verdasis Doof on the start of that mid, but Yak and the boys didn't really feel like capitalizing off of it very much. Charlie did a high bomb, he could have made a lot of space, but he just curved off, and in the end the bombs weren't too effective, and I think Troy went down early trying to make it down to June. So kind of an indecisive mid from Stevie Wonder's aim school, and back in a stalemate here. But in fact, two players, both of the flank, or well, the pocket soldier and flank scout, have gone down for Stevie Wonder's aim school, so it's going to be tough for them to hold second, as the Germans going to be flooding in through choke. No traps up at all, so they have a lot of room here. The question is, will they try and take an awful trade now onto the demo on point? It's going to be very, very bad if they do. They should not get forced early here, but in fact they haven't forced for quite a while, so it's going to be better than it should have been. But nevertheless, they're going to have to leave, or they're going to get caught. And Fishkov is behind, making a lot of space for his team. They're fighting from bats now, so it could be a decent fight for the Germans. It's in the balance turbo.
God, it is so down to the wire. Everyone's just holding their ground at like certain spots, and I guess they were just forced into a sticky situation as they, that nice turn on bats did make it look a bit intimidating. All four players just suddenly stop, and then you have to fight all of them. But it was basically an all-in play, and they've ended up losing in this cash out.
Yeah, it was a very, very telegraphed trade, just kind of standing there saying, hey guys, we're not leaving, we're gonna trade. And so Vanu did, at least he didn't get forced immediately, but the Uber was still a lot worse, and there was just better positioning. Even though they had bats, they had no space really to work with Stevie Wonder's aim school. So 1-1 now, and it's been one mid each, so this is going to be a crucial one to take the momentum right now.
Okay, it seems the motto for Worst Asties Doof is don't press the W, get the W, as hopefully the lack of aggression here will pay off, and Philip controls the first aggressing soldier. Yak does follow up and gets a nice scout in this mid. They are a contributing factor for a lot of one mid fights, but Boxy is going to tie out that scout deficit, and there you go again. I don't think there was too much aggression there, and they hold out another mid here for the Germans.
Yeah, and this is kind of what I meant by, the Germans just wising up to the strats of Stevie Wonder's aim school, as they kind of have recognized already, just like they've done product, that in these fights, all they really need to do is hold in a decent position and wait for feeders. As Fishkov does go in for a sack, he's going to get one rocket onto Faust. Will he be able to reload one? He's actually going to get the force. Oh, it's a questionable pop. He did, I think, get the pack before popping, but Faust is going to pop. So they could maybe make some kind of play. Troy's going to skip in. In fact, he's going to get pretty hard denied. 0 rockets onto June, so it's not really worth it. They could have gone for the force on the second instead. Yeah, trapping choke, but he's put a stick in the wrong place, so they're going to see it anyway. And in fact, no one at all is watching Saw, so this trapping choke was completely pointless. And this hold here, so you saw Troy solo sack onto mid, but he could have been sacking right now and delaying them. And now that means the Germans are going to have a 50% add straight into loss.
Pick a door, any door, Eames, as they're actually going to go through shutter now, see if again there's no stickies really waiting for them. They get on top of Yak, I think, before he can get through the door, and with a demo man lacking on this last defense, it's going to be very easy for them to play the point here, and it's going to be very easy for them to play the point here. Very easy for the... There we go. Okay, alright. They actually get one scout on there, but there's no stickies kind of follow up and sit on there. What was everyone doing during all that, Ian?
Yeah, that was a pretty weird one. They didn't really have players over on the right. I think their flank was coming in mostly left, and Voxy was very hesitant to play. He finally did and just got completely denied, but the timing was all wrong there. But nevertheless, Faust going down to a late bomb from, I think, Fishkov means that it's going to be very easy for the Germans to retake this point, and they have another shot at this last push, so hopefully they can get more presence on right there. And they just need to reset after getting that Yak kill, but they were a little bit too hasty, I think.
Oh, Charles playing sniper. Oh, Charles not playing sniper anymore. Okay, well, we're back at a 100% Uber. It's like it never happened, Eemes. So we're going to go in. It looks like they want to push in for left side instead, but they end up popping very early because of the sniper. So this hasn't really gone to plan that they were hoping. And this time they don't get the early demo man pick that they got last time. They do get a couple of just rando picks here and there, but with Iusti on this heavy weapons guy, it's going to be hard for them to kind of throw in enough bodies to deal with everybody. And I mean, they're giving credence, they're making it work. The scouts are still alive and they actually have so much health to cap off the rest of this point. I'm baffled.
A solid last push there from the Germans, but I have to call out Troy for a really stupid play. I mean, he sat on top of the hut while an Uber came in and went for air shots and then died. So he could have just jumped away, would have been fine. The Uber would have been completely useless, but instead he gives his life away. And then the Germans, their push wasn't brilliant, but they had a 65 fight and they played it correctly. Philip reloaded, they went over. So, air shots all round. Troy chose air shots.
Yep. He won YouTube though. He didn't win Twitch, but he did win YouTube. As we're going into another fantastic round of Snake Water, and the Germans, they're on the up and up on these mids, and nothing's changed in this plan. They're going to stick with it no matter what. And I see a bit of wising up coming from Stevie Wonder's aim school. No, just immediately jumping. They're just trying to push across the point as a collective unit and play off the picks and the sort of damage. Oh, a step too far coming out from Iusti and Charlie, who want to get aggressive and play off this German team who's on the back foot, but they end up getting bit back, and now what turned into a really good mid is turned into an okay mid.
Yeah, it was solid stuff there from Stevie Wonder's aim school to recognise that early on in these bids, the Germans have had a very, very bad positioning, which it's been okay for them so far because only the Sollies have been going aggressive. But Yak realised he could just kind of walk over, and they took so much space for free. So it's a nice adaptation by them. They didn't win decisively because the Germans were so passive; they never really could have done that. But nevertheless, a solid adaptation.
Alright, so we've got Charles playing on the spy class. He did cloak in the middle of mid though, so he had to do a long crawl with his invisibility watch all the way through this flank. So, and they're running a sniper as well, so this is really going to keep them confused. Charlie goes down during all of that, so it's fine though. That's what the sniper's for, the backup to the backup. Yeah,
so I think Amty must have heard the footsteps. That's the only possible explanation. So Amty's is a genius. Nice little trade here as Yussi isn't sniping them one down, so this could be very, very nice for the Germans if they can get in here, but it's a better trade. They're chasing all the way into Saw. Very, very aggressive, in fact. In window on his own, but Voxy will go down, so they can make something happen here, but they do still have a sniper. It's going to be tough for them to do too much with this sniper in a push, but Yak is leading the charge, Turbo.
Oh, it's yeah, they've just blobbed up and they're just playing off the sniper and Yak duo, which you don't really see too often. They actually catch out some of these scout players. June is still alive, reconnects with a scout just in time to save her life, but it could have been good there. The fact that they Uber into a sniper play whilst another player was down over on Stevie Wonder's school, I can respect it. Oh my god, they're already pushing into last Eemes, and they're getting some nice damage and some kind of setup on this last point to boot. It's got to send shivers down the spine of Wordasty Doof.
Yes, potentially, but not the position they were standing in. No shivers generated from there because they all, as is their characteristic play, they came in from lower and they had very, very bad positioning on that last, so it was going to be always very, very tough for them. But as they do take a standard Yak trade very deep into them, June hasn't popped at all, and Yak is just behind and no ammo. The point isn't capped, so I don't know what he's going to be doing there as else he's going to live. But June, oh my god,
what the hell's going on? Okay. What? Well, I think they were so hungry for the Yak kill, they went chasing all the way back to last. They got him, but then they realised, wait, we just gave up second for that demo man pick all the way back, and they ended up losing a lot of players through all that chaos. Charles is trying to give him the fast one to get on top of June again, but June just goes into the bunker, the ever-lovable bunker of Snake Water.
Yeah, I don't think they needed to chase Yak behind. He wasn't going to be doing anything, you know, he couldn't have backcapped or anything. They already had the point, so they could have just left him there and then killed him later. But as it was, they gave up point, they lost, kind of baited their flank who were on point alone. But now they do have a full out, going to be able to walk in. No traps too close, only on the ammo pack as you just see Antroy going to try and make a play, but they're not really doing too much. The timing is kind of off. Both scouts could, in fact, die here. Yusty will die. Varnu getting out, and now it's still a small advantage. It's going to be even for mid, but they can take it with these 2 picks.
A slow and steady push there. I thought there was a lot of space given from Stevie Wonder's aim score, but they still played it by the book over on the German side, and they're trying to get in from Saw, but Yak's just being an absolute pest. They tried to go from the walkway instead. They get Fishkov on top of Faust, who forces the Uber out, and they just do a clean back out here from where that's East Doof to really milk this advantage.
Yeah, solid first play there, taking room with their combo, sending the flank in, and getting a nice little force onto Faust. So where will they be coming in from? There are traps in Saw, they will notice them though. Yak not actually watching that, so I don't know what the point of it was, if I'm honest, but they... Stevie Wonder's aim school just sitting on their side. They're not really playing too close, so they're not going to be able to get the force here. I mean, Junior's just walking in. We're going to get piped down by Yak, but there's no Solly's ready to make any kind of play, so this Famines kind of useless at the moment. In fact, Charlie will be heading in, going deep for the bomb. Onto Junior, gets a 100 rocket, very, very nice force in the end. So coming up, but a bit late with that, but it was not too bad. And in fact, 75% already for Faust. They could be heading back in very, very quickly here, and maybe even block this point, but they don't have it yet, Turbo.
I don't like this attempt at trying to block this this midpoint here. I think, they committed a bit too hard there just to try and make that forced backcap happen. It could have been curtains for them, and now it's just turned into like a regular section. Oh, by the way, Charlie's still alive. You know, people still are alive after a backcap is failed, so he's going to come back and clean up the remnants of these final players. And yeah, with all said and done, it's actually their turn to go for the backcap now.
As they could maybe try and block on mid here. They don't have any heals, but Fish are going to head in, and Voxy as well onto the scout. Faust kind of weak, but they are going to get both cleaned up, and that was a fairly solid defense there. You know, Stevie Wonder's aim school kind of recognized that the Germans had to go for a bit of a last-ditch play to block there, and it wasn't really happening. Yeah,
it looks like they're setting up for last already now. They have no aspirations for this second point already. Sticky's hiding in lower as we speak, and Yak! Hello? He's just got jumped on top. He's got killed off Foxy, killed off Shocky, and they just already stacked the point. Well,
sometimes it works, Sebo. And that was one of the times when it works. So that was, nice play there to capitalize off those picks. You know, going very, very fast to take it all the way to last. So nicely done by Stevie Wonder's aim score. This could have been, they weren't looking great points in this round, but the block on mid was good, and. Or rather, the holding of mid was good. So yeah, 2-2 now.
Alright, it's another mid, and this time Stevie Wonders are showing a bit of clapback. They're actually dealing with this defensive posturing of Wordasty stuff, and now just taking baby bites out of this German team. They try to go aggressive a little bit in response. I guess they don't like being put in the corner, and when the dust settles, it's surprisingly even between these two teams, despite what was looking like a favourable exchange for Stevie Wonder's aim score.
Yeah, Varnu really wants to go back in. Faust kind of fears, but there's only 2 solids, so they shouldn't have to be afraid. Scout is very, very much better as long as he has the beam. But no, they're going to give up the cap, in fact, and I think... Well, maybe there's some disagreement in the comms there, perhaps, from Stevie Wonder's aim score as to whether they would go back in, but usually the play there, Turbo, would be to go back in.
Yeah, it looked like some insubordination, told to come back, and they were being pulled on by the leash. They're going to attempt a grass push, a slow push, over on the worst last East Doof lineup. Yak sees a bit of an opening, tries to get some spam in there, but no real concentrated fire to really force out or scare the Germans, and this gives a bit of Fishkoff room to try and get in on the flank, but he's a bit weak, he's a bit injured, and there's a bit, makes me wonder what they're trying to commit here. Actually, yeah, they do actually commit in with the rest of the Uber now over on the German squad, trying to chase the leftover kills. They actually do get fast as well, so it's a very, very successful Uber. They just need to clean up the remnants of these players that are going to attempt on June's life, and June will go down, but that's a lot of players dying for the cause, but it should be alright. They've got some respawners left for this last defense.
Both The scouts are so weak on second. Yusti can just bully them out of there and maybe get the cap as well, and they're not going to be able to take last. So this has actually worked out pretty well for him. This pick onto June was huge. Yusti, in fact, though, he will not get any frags there, so he could have made a lot more out of that. And the Germans, they could, off these 2 scout picks, make something happen onto last now.
Yeah, but no heals, and yeah, they decide against it. They want to just back out, play it safe, and Philip, he's got here a bit scared. There we go. Okay, June's back now, so it's all safe. It's all gravy. As there's no Ubers between these two teams. They just go for a dry push, going in, walking in, manhandling left, and trying to throw out any pipes and pressure that they can. June's been left alone, and will continue to be left alone as IOC's been dragged back to last. Deal with the burning casualties of all these players left, and will go down. It's Voxy versus Yak. It's the summer shutdown fight of the century, and he goes for the point instead. It's just Yak and the world. It will be the world. 3-2.
The world indeed. I don't know how June didn't die. June was left alone for ages. I thought she was going to be for sure dead, but managing to live there, and they cleaned up that pick. So what looked like a difficult fight for the Germans. In fact, they kind of won fights on both sides that they had no right to win, and kind of clutched it out there.
I think that's what happens when you just program your scouts to just get back when you tell them to. It's like, obviously, get back. We need somebody to kill these players. But maybe said it in a quicker fashion. But anywho, we're going to another mid. It's still a nail-biter of a game. 10 minutes left on the clock, and it's been farming rounds for both of these two teams. And the mids, they've been very even. So it's really comes down to, I think it'll get scrappier as the game goes. They lose poor Philip starting off this mid. The soldiers are doing a massive amount of work for Stevie Wonder's aim score. A nice bit of coordination and kind of collapse over on their little shed, and with just Amty left alive and no health, no rockets, it's looking a bit grim.
Yeah, it was a soldiers mid-fight, very much so. As we saw Charlie getting in behind, coming and killing Philip and then killing June. And on the other side, lots of solid frags as well, so pretty chaotic. But Philip went all the way to last in spawn camp. 2 players, I think it was Charlie and maybe Yak as well.
Nope.
So
opposite way round. It just looked like that it was their spawn, but Charlie and Yak were just kind of chilling all the way at their forward respawn, putting nightmares into June's head, but sadly they didn't get the kill.
Okay, I mean, well, I guess I couldn't compute why they would have been doing that, so I assumed it was a spawn camp, but no, they were just feeding, so there you go.
Hey man, it's hard, okay? Blue and red. I mix up the colours too. It's okay. Alright, so we've got another spy play. Charles was not successful the last time because we got some hacker ears over on the side of... Oh, is Shocky now? Or is he just shooting some random sort of areas of the map? But hopefully we haven't got our hacker ears on, and Shocky is looking around here and there. He smells a spy. And Charles feels a bit cheated because he's like, how does he know?
And crazy ears maybe from the Germans, or maybe they just counted there's no solids. Charlie probably would have fed by now if he was up.
Take that, Shocky. Gets the backstab onto him. It's a shame if Charles just kept riding high with the spy. Could have maybe got another follow-up backstab onto June there, but say it wasn't so. They will pop off Ubers in this lower area. It's getting a bit dicey because everyone's just multiing all over the place, and stickies are carpeting the ground. Soldiers are entering the post-Uber fight, and it's really just seeing who lands their shots and who doesn't here, and I think everyone's having a bit of both categories.
Very chaotic here. Yak will take out but the demo and Solly there, so nice afterfight from him. It would look a bit tough for Vanu, who had to 1v1 Voxy without much health, but they managed to make it work. They're going to be taking over a point now, but there will be a very solid spawn wave, which I don't think Stevie Wonder's aim score is going to be able to deny here, so this could be a decent recontest now for the Germans.
Yeah, I was kind of scratching my head a little bit for a second there, thinking, why didn't Choi just go in for the greed play, carry on for that June pick? But instead, I think they just really wanted to make sure they grabbed that midpoint instead. Play it a lot more cold and calculated and conservative here going into this third round that they need. And oh, some nice air shot coming out from Troy. Will still go down, however, and this leaves the top area open for Voxy. Voxy's kind of flanked around. He's a bit shocked that he's got so much space out of him, and they just turn around and gun the man down.
Yeah, it was a bit indecisive there from the Germans. They had a great opportunity to rebust, but they just took about 5 seconds too long and kind of gave up the positioning that they needed to have to win that out. And they will be getting caught here by Vanu, who's going to take a trade into them, perhaps. Philip will go down. June is actually going to live, so they could have this for last, probably, unless she gets forced. But Vanu will get all the way in and get that force. Kind kind of poorly played there. He could have just run all the way out, I think, but we get forced in the end, and the Germans back on last 2 down. This is the chance for Stevie Wonder's Aim Squad to get back in the game.
Yeah, and Yak is already in. He's already at last, and they didn't see him coming through the door. And Panic Station's a bit bored where that's the stuff, as some people are backing now from Stevie Wonder's Aim Squad. I guess the shot play was there, but the coordination was not.
So how long will it be before Charlie goes spy? That is the question, I think, Turbo. Well, in fact, they may be trying to go off this 10% advantage. They are building pretty well, so they probably know about it. They do know that they popped first, so I expect they'll be heading in from under maybe again. But it's going to be difficult because there's a lot of ground for them to cover in Uber, and there's only, they have 15% ads, so they don't have much time to do it.
Now they're going from shutter, and yep, Yak knows there isn't much time. He goes darting straight to the left, takes a fat pipe, and yeah, they're just playing a bit too greedy with their little advantage here. They knew they had to play loose and fast, and it was just a fast death.
It was certainly fast, but it was also certainly liest. So there you go. Yeah, Yak dying immediately on that bomb. I think maybe he got jugged by the heavy. He could have just selected that one frag and taken it, and then they could have played point. But in any case, they tried to rush it. They didn't really work, and now it's a full advantage for June. But this is decision time really for the Germans. 5 minutes left. Do they want to push out? It's going to be kind of risky. It's 6 up for the Yak's team, so they could make many things happen here, as they will in fact opt for the push out. June's very weak. Charlie's going to go in for the force, but he will get taken down. And but in fact, Shocky dying on his own on the bridge there, and they're probably going to be heading back to last. Both of their flank dying. They're going to be leaving, as they sort of didn't really look like they wanted to commit there, even though they did get that early Charlie pick. But now they're coming back in Turbo. This is big risk, but in fact there's 4 players in front. They're not going to get back out. It doesn't look like. They're going to be taking point pretty convincingly. So this is very risky from them, but I like it. Very ballsy.
Yeah, they've just half of the team decided to back out, and half of the team decided to kind of keep pushing in. I don't know if they just felt it in the air or felt the sign of weakness from Stevie Wonder's Aim School, but there was not too much resistance from Yak and company. They just kind of let them have it.
Amty just checking the classes on Spy there, but no, not actually going to be off-classing, as the Stevie Wonder's Aim School sitting, coming in through Sword, very, very aggressively. Shocky kind of weak here. Charlie's going to make a play onto June. Will he hit the air shot? No. Nice surf there. Not going to take any more spam, so they can make something happen onto mid now. But you can really tell Stevie Wonder's Aim School, they're really looking to make something happen. They need to get back into this game as fast as possible.
Oh, this is where the inefficient plays come out. It's not the best, but we need it. Sort of plays. 4 minutes left. The squeeze of the timer. It's a cool game to watch as the news tightens around Stevie Wonder's Aim School as just waiting, and Gentleman's code as well tells them they've got midpoint. They should be the one pushing.
Definitely, and they're pushing way through into Sorehead. No one really holding that at all. Philip's going to be close, but he's not being hit right now. He could be dropped if they're not careful. June's going to get forced. Both Solis will go. Solly and Varney will go down, and Solly is behind as well. So Troy needs to get taken out here. He's going to flank that combo. They're going to be heading on to June right now. Going to get 2 rocks, and June will die. So no one noticed Troy get behind. Big mistake. They could get this force onto mid now. But in fact, no. Stevie Wonder's Aim School too passive for that to be even remotely possible. All they can do is clean up Troy, maybe set up for a force, but probably Turbo, they're going to have to head back to last now.
Yeah, they even wasted a bit of time with Troy hanging back and just playing awkward, just being a long kill to make, and they could have, it's unlikely they could have milked or done anything with the remnants of that Uber. They were out, they were past that saw line, so with 100% Uber charge for Yak and the boys, it feels like their get out of free jail card has been given to them. Which way will they push though? It's looking like a shutter push.
Yeah, they got a lot bigger advantage this time, so they can take their time with the Uber. They don't really need to catch anyone. They can just take space, get the sentry, then play point. But what will they do? Will they opt to try and get the picks, or will they play methodically? I
mean, they're maybe going a bit too methodically at this point. They're like pretty much writing the plan out in sand, and now they finally push in. But we're in the territory that June could get an Uber charge back in time for the team. They take out the sentry gun. They try and play a scout on the point quick as, and the soldiers do a good job of actually locking down that avenue, and Charlie and team are trying to see if they can edge out that point. Charlie misses. Oh my god, did you see that little kind of whiz around play from that soldier there? That's gotta hurt if you're Charles, and Faust will get out alive, but there's not much of an Uber to kind of recover here.
Yeah, it's cold comfort. The only thing they can really hope for now is some kind of, well, they need to force or preferably drop June as she comes into mid. Is that going to happen? They're not opting to take snipe or anything, but they need to make something happen very quickly. Troy and Yusti are going to be playing on the flank. In fact, they're going to get the force off very early, but they're probably both going to go down. Yusti running behind all the way to second, but Philip will just about claim that kill. So it's a bit of a scrappy mid take here, and in fact, they haven't really bullied out Stevie on his aim score at all from the top position, and Amty will go down because of that. So this is actually nicely held by them, but nevertheless, it's 5v4. So they could win this fight pretty easily, but Philip going to go down. It's back and forth, Turbo.
I'm liking this. If I'm wearing SD stuff, I would have just cashed my chips in and just backed out to second. And look, because they felt like they had to continue with the push here and play off their advantage, they're going to get bitten for it. 1 minute left on the clock, and it is possible. And with an overcharge ready for Yak and company, they've got the second point captured. They're trying to get to last. They're trying to build the sentry gun quickly. Shockey's like, there's no time for a sentry gun. We need to get a heavy weapons guy. Vanu does get killed by Amty, gets hit with a crossbow as well, so that's going to be a +1 forward. SD still, they're making the push in anyway. They pop in a little bit late. They actually get some nice sort of damage starting off onto Fishkov, taking him out quickly. They've got some point pressure already. Philip is still kind of holding the point from afar. They try to go for June for some reason. I don't know why. Yak is the only one really kicking for the rest of the team, and he will also go down, and there's just too many buffed red players for them to deal with.
Just too many, exactly, and really this early death on Varney was just curtains for them. There's no way they make that push with one down. They would have to play it absolutely perfectly, bait the point, get multiple picks with the Uber, but they just couldn't do it. And once again, we see, these Ubers, they're just rushing it. I mean, Varney clearly wanted to go in very, very fast with his team to the left, but getting a little bit baited there, dying. Two very nice directs, by the way, from Amty to get that crucial pick, but the Germans looking very strong here. Full Uber, all they need to do is pop on point and they're going to win, and it's looking like, well, let's see what happens, Turbo.
It's a pyro play. Maybe they're thinking the only thing I can turn around here is a Crix, and Shocky will go down to the Yak gameplay. But it's just about holding the point at this point, and Philip has got his eye on the prize. He's not taking his eyes off it. He knows that only a cat play can win out here, and it will be a confirmed German victory. 3-2 for Das doof.
Yeah, huge official for them. 6 points, first 6 points of the season, and against a close, well, what could have been a close rival of theirs. So, looking very strong. And once again, I haven't looked at the logs yet, but I'm expecting Voxy to be up there, and just some very very solid combo play in general from the Germans.
Yeah, this dark horse of Stevie Wonder's aim score has turned into a chariot, as where Dusty Stuff is going to join them in the ranks of a team for teams to kind of keep their eye on. That could cause a bit of waves here if left completely unchecked. But very much congratulations and commiserations to both teams. It was a very, very nice watch, and let's see if the logs are just as nice to look at as well.
The logs are pretty nice if you're Voxy. Nice little 36 for 13, 322 DPM, and not even that much DPM taken. So, although he's on 23% heals, it's not even that much. So there you go, huge play from the top tier German pocket scout. That was nicely done. What else do we see? Again, June, pretty low deaths. Philip not having the best game, but it didn't really matter. He wasn't too. Voxy was doing most of the work in the combo, so
I think he was relegated to a lot of boring jobs, just kind of, hey boy, put those stickies on point, maybe he had some nice pipes, nothing creative stat-wise, I think.
I do see 9 air shots from Troy, so, maybe it was worth it. Maybe
Hello,
Beta
YouTube.
was watching.
It was back to that midpoint that you're talking about, that last point as well.
Yeah, exactly. Amty actually with a very, very solid performance. I still don't know who's playing Pocket or Roma.
Yeah, I had to look at the stats a bit closer as well, and I still don't know, kind of looking at it. But maybe it's just a loose goose thing. Who cares? Who predefined roles, that's just...
Mm-hmm.
But
either way, solid performance, getting positive DPM, positive frags on Soldier, and you saw that with that very final crucial pick on Vanu, just holding the choke points. And even though he's fighting a scout, if he's in the right position, the scout isn't, then he's gonna have very favorable fights and exchanging damage efficiently, and that's very nicely done by him.
All right, well, boys and girls, that was our coverage of Stevie Wonder's Aim School versus with That's Liest, doof, and that's been our coverage of week 3. I think we're going to encapsulate that. We're going to finish this off, and we're going to say goodbye here from me, TurboTabs, and Eames as well on the co-cast. Beta has joined us on production. And obviously, a big shout out to everybody behind the teamfortress.tv scene. If you want to find any more information about our upcoming coverage, you can follow us here on Twitch. You can follow more action over on teamfortress.tv. Otherwise, that has been us, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye bye now.
Bye bye.